What's going on, everyone? So I recently dove into Stu Macher and a potential return. Again, not a fan of it. I think he should stay dead, but there is a lot of people that really believe that Stu Macher is still alive, that want to see Stu alive, and we've seen these front runners for Scream do things that are fan favorites, right? I mean, even Kirby's return can be linked to the fan base really wanting to see her return. All the talk about Scream 5 and stuff like that, and then ultimately they brought her back for Scream 6. So the idea that Stu returning, I don't think is something that is impossible. I don't think it's likely, but I think it's something that I wouldn't be shocked at this point, especially given the circumstances, right? They brought Sidney back. They're trying to do a new trilogy centered around Sidney. Supposedly, Scream 8 has already been greenlit, and they're already developing that. So, if you were ever going to bring Stu back, I think now would be the time to do so. Again, I'm not saying that they will. I'm not saying that they should. I don't believe that they should, but there are enough people that are loud enough about Stu returning that I could see the showrunners and, or not showrunners, but movie runners, Spyglass and all the writers and stuff being like, hey, let's go this route. Kevin Williamson's at the helm. If anyone was going to be like, hey, let's bring him back, Kevin Williamson's probably one of those guys, right? His original story was for Stu in Scream 3 that ultimately became the following. It's very possible that Kevin Williamson just doesn't decide to do that, but it's not something, again, that I think that we should completely rule out, although I do think it's still very unlikely. However, if they're going to bring Stu back, I've talked about how I really want to see like a redemption story for him, because I think it would suit his character more. Now, I know some people want to see him come back and take on the Ghostface moniker. I just don't think that that's really his character from what we know from 96, right? It wasn't his idea. He wasn't the one, he wasn't the mastermind, he wasn't the orchestrator. I know a lot of people want him to be that and become that, but that's not who his character was. He was the patsy. He was the fall guy, right? He did it for Billy. He didn't do it because, obviously he had psychotic mentality and there was, I'm sure, some self-pleasure in doing so, but he wasn't he even said himself, peer pressure, right? I don't think that Stu is this grand mastermind schemer just based on his character. And I actually think it'd be more kind of fulfilling to have this full circle arc where Stu comes and redeems himself. Now, obviously to Sidney Prescott, there's nothing he can do that would redeem himself, right? I mean, he killed all of her friends, right? But here's the question. How many of her friends did he actually kill? How many people were actually killed by Stu? And majority of them weren't killed by Billy, right? So, he would have an argument point, but I also think it would make for a better story because you'd have Stu who's, trying to be reformed and trying to, prove himself and stuff to Sidney Prescott, and Sidney's not buying it. And I think you can kind of set it up as if it is Stu. Stu's the one that's killing everybody. Stu's, the mastermind. You can kind of play into that, kind of the red herring route, and make it even appear like it's him. Maybe he's the one that's being set up by the Ghostface that are running around. So he's trying to clear his name. He's trying to redeem himself. He's trying to help Sidney. And, he could have some real insight and information because he was a former Ghostface that, would have survived, and all the other ones are gone as far as we know, right? Unless they do some crazy return thing. I think that you could have this really kind of nice full circle moment, kind of Cotton, but extreme, right? Because Cotton didn't really kill anybody, right? Cotton was ultimately the good guy. But you could have Stu kind of come full circle, and could be a way to kind of keep him in the franchise going forward beyond just this film for the fans. Where if he's, Ghostface, chances are he's going to die, and then that's it, right? They're going to finally kill him for real. Where you could have his character kind of continue to be that guy, and he's, trying to right the ship here. And of course, Sidney is never going to do that. So you have this kind of struggle, you have this conflict, you have Stu maybe kind of trying to go above and beyond and, trying to help Sidney. And, Sidney, I'm just trying to help you, your family's in danger and stuff. And it's just like this conflict. And Sidney's like, stay away from me, stay away from my family, right? Like, don't mention my family, nothing like that. And I also think the biggest kind of thing would be, okay, Isabel May is expected to play, or was cast to play, Sidney's oldest daughter, right? Well, her name is supposed to be Tatum in this upcoming Scream movie. What better sort of full circle moment would there be than Stu saving Sidney's daughter, Tatum, right? Like, talk about a full arc. Talk about tying together, the full circle story, where he goes from killing Tatum, or Billy did, but setting up to allowing Tatum to die, to being the hero that ultimately saves Sidney and her daughter, right? And ends up saving Tatum. And you kind of have these parallels. You have, the new Tatum, who, again, doesn't trust Stu, knows what happened to the mother, right? Maybe you have kind of like that Kirby moment in Scream 6 where, Tatum, the new Tatum, is there, and Stu shows up and she's like, oh no, it's you. Or maybe her and Sidney are there and it's like, oh no, it's you. And Stu's like, no, it's not me, I didn't do it. And they don't trust him, and maybe it ends up getting Stu like stabbed or something like that. And they think he's dead, he plays dead, and then he comes ultimately and it ends up being the hero. And he ends up saving Sidney's daughter. And of course, Sidney's still not going to be, it's not like they're going to be besties and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, sure, you did save my daughter, so, we'll just be best friends now. No, I don't think it'd be anything like that. But I do think it would be kind of a bit of a powerful moment, right? To kind of redeem himself for killing the previous Tatum. And I imagine that there would be a bit of kind of reminiscence and nostalgia and things that Stu would go through by seeing Sidney's daughter, and and if she is still blonde like Tatum and have the name Tatum, right? I'm sure it would bring back some type of just memories of like, man, even I made the mistake, I did what I did, I can't change that, but I've always regretted it. I always loved her. I always cared about her, but I just felt like it was a necessary evil at that time. I fell into the trap and, allowed myself to be manipulated and stuff. And I just couldn't allow that to happen again. Right. And you have Stu kind of full on redemption arc, full circle, saves the day, saves Sidney's daughter. I just think that is just a better overall story, in my opinion. I just think that would, because I mean, if he comes back and he's the killer, it's predictable, right? Like, we all know, okay, Stu's back, so he's the mastermind, he's the killer. I don't think that there's any suspense, right? Like the reveal of Stu being alive, would be like, oh, like, oh, that's crazy, he's back. But I think you could do that and still have, like, do that in the sense of him being the red herring, right? To where we think, maybe we see him at the end or something, and lo and behold, it's not him, right? And I mean, you could still have him in like the Ghostface costume. Maybe he disguises himself in the Ghostface costume and kind of has like one last kill, goes on a rampage and takes out a bunch of Ghostface or something, right? Maybe they lean into the Ghostface cult idea and we get to see Stu kind of take on the robe one more time to just like appease fan service, but kind of play into that mystery of like, ooh, well, maybe it is him, maybe he is the evil, maybe he is the bad guy. No, it can't be him, right? Like that'd be too predictable. Oh no, maybe it is. Oh, it is him, and then lo and behold, it's not him, and he ends up saving the day, right? I just think that would be a much better approach for this upcoming Scream. Have Stu be the hero rather than the villain again, right? Because I don't think, looking at Stu in the classic 96, he wasn't that guy. Like, he was the patsy. He wasn't the mastermind. He wasn't this, big creative, right? Like, we don't even know how many people did he actually really kill? Like, most of them were Billy. I'm not saying he didn't kill anybody. I'm saying most of them were Billy. I mean, there's kill counts, stuff like that. Oh, well, Stu could have done this, and Stu could have killed this person. You can also argue Stu might have not have killed anybody. Just been helpful in it, right? He didn't prevent it. and that I think could be an argument for him. Like, no, like Billy was the one that did the killing, right? Like Billy was the one that did most of it, like I took out the principal or whatever before I met up with you guys or whatever, right? Like you could have some type of connection or explanation or whatever, and just give us some details, give us some information. But I like the idea of, like, he allowed Tatum to get killed, and this time he won't. And this time, instead of allowing her to die, he ends up coming and saving the day. I think that makes for a better story. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Hey, Phil, what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you prefer the redemption route? Stu saves Tatum this go around. Do you think no? You got to keep him the killer. You got to have him continue to be Ghostface. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it either way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.